Hello everyone, all my plant lovers, and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that I haven't been online for such a long time, but there's lots of things happening because I have a little garden outside. Once the growing season starts, that gives me a lot of work. And yeah, we've had very strange weather. We have not had any heat waves. April started out as a very nice, warm spring month. My 1-year-old apricot tree was full of blooms, and it had about 10 or 15 little apricots on it. But then May came along, and May was a very frosty month. And unfortunately, my little apricots, even though I had covered the tree to protect it from the frost, no, they didn't survive the frosts. They hang on for dear life, but they turned a little bit brown, and then when June, July, and first part of August started, we've had rain and rain and rain, and some of that rain was torrential rain, and the torrential rain just knocked the little apricots off the tree, so I didn't get to taste any of my apricots. So maybe next year. So yeah, it's been very strange weather. We've had a lot of rain. It's not unusual in Lithuania to have rain in the summer, and it's usually, we have a hot day, and then late in the afternoon we get thunderstorms and the downpour of heavy rain, and then the clouds all go away, and everything starts evaporating. But the good thing about it is that we have reasonably good humidity outside. So I usually open up some of my windows, and I end up getting about 65% humidity indoors, which was very good because I was away for a holiday for a while in Bulgaria during the summer, and I was away for just over a week. And when I came back and I checked all my plants, most of them, for all the soil was moist for most of them. And that's not unusual because the humidity in the room was 65%ish. And if the air is humid, the plant is not going to be taking up so much moisture from the pots. So they all survived extremely well. I did have some friends staying over for that time to look after my dog and keep an eye on the plants, keep an eye on the plants outside. But, they didn't need to do much outside because I mowed the lawn before I left, and it rained practically every day. So we didn't have the most usual summer. And we're in the last week, official week of summer, of the growing season. And, it's plus 14 degrees Celsius outside. And it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and it's overcast, and it did rain a little bit in the morning. So yeah, anyway, and so I had lots and lots of things to do because I love my little garden. I go out there on the terrace or patio, whatever you want to call it, usually around midday to have a little cup of coffee, and I eye over all of the little plants. Odd branch not looking nice, cut it off. Plant not growing well in a particular place, yep, move it, replant it somewhere else and see how it goes. And the biggest problem I have in my garden is weevils, which are chewing up the leaves on all of my rhododendrons, which all flowered this year, which was a beautiful display of blooms. And they all bloomed at different times. One started blooming, and when one was finishing its blooming period, another one started blooming. That was almost finished, then another one, and it seems they all agreed with each other. Anyway, the holiday to Bulgaria, yeah, I couldn't go past picking a few plants. I was staying at a seaside resort, and they had these lovely Japanese maples growing, which were full of seeds. So I picked some, and I've potted them up in a little greenhouse, and maybe they'll sprout for me. And I also pinched a little cutting of a succulent which had beautiful purpley pink small flowers, but just covered in them. And by the way, just to let you know, if anybody is wondering, the trip to Bulgaria was a gift from my neighbors on that side of the wall, because it was the big 70th birthday of mine a couple of weeks ago. Yes, the big 70. So, and I told everybody, I don't want any gifts, I don't want any flowers. If you want to come over for a drink or whatever and a snack, but no big party. I don't like parties. I don't really like birthdays. I don't like gifts. Being a Leo, some of you may agree with me. I don't like opening gifts in the presence of the person that gave it to me. No, that's just me, but I think that's a trait of Leos. I always like to open birthday gifts and Christmas presents after the people that gave them to me have left. Mainly because I don't want them to see their reaction, what my face looks like when I open up the gift. So that's what, and I don't need, hey, when you've reached 70, what you need, you can't even buy for money. So, thankfully, touch wood, I'm in very, very good health and enjoying my retirement and my life in this cottage, which I've now been in for 2 years. So yeah, that's really nice. Now, anyway, for those that are new here, my name is Bruno. I was born and raised in Australia. I am of Lithuanian descent, and been living here in Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, for the last 30 years. So, being from Australia, as I've mentioned in some of my earlier videos, what we're used to growing outside in Australia is our indoor plants here. But I do have about 14 plants which I take out every spring as soon as the nighttime temperature doesn't fall below 6 or 7 degrees Celsius. I take them outside on the terrace, place them around all over the garden, and they grow quite well. I even have an Australian finger lime, which is from northern New South Wales, southern Queensland, somewhere around that border area in the subtropics, almost tropics. And the interesting thing about this finger lime is that it has fruit that is long and they look like fingers, and you can't slice it like you can slice an ordinary lemon or an orange, because when you slice it and bend it, the insides come out like caviar. And sometimes they're orange, sometimes they're white, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're almost purple. But they're very popular in many restaurants, especially in Australia, as a garnish on fish, on seafood, etc. So that also goes outside, but then it comes back inside probably early October, mid-October, depends on what the season is like at that time of the year. And it has its own special spot in my home office, where I call it also my plant hospital, but I have a little table with a very strong grow light above it, and that's where the Australian finger lime spends its cold months. And then as soon as the temperature warms up, outside. It hasn't flowered this year. Last year it flowered, it had one little flower and no fruit yet. But it's grown to now, I bought it about 30 centimeters high, I think from a nursery in France, and had it sent over. And now it's about a meter tall. The thing about Australian finger lime is it has tiny little thorns. So whenever you touch it, you do get pricked by the thorns. So you need nice heavy duty gloves. Anyway, today I'm going to go through all my Aglaonemas that I have. I love these plants. They are just so easy to grow. I don't have many problems with them. In fact, I don't have any problems with them. You know, I've never had pests on the Aglaonema. No red spider mites, no mealybugs, no thrips, no nothing, no pests on them, and they grow quite well. And there are so many different varieties, so I do want to get a couple more. How many have I brought out today? Well, I brought them all out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. We'll get through them. Okay, so the first one I have is No, they're basically all Aglaonema commutatum, and this one, the variety, is called Crete. Lovely. I like it because of the color. You know, the stems are pinkish. The leaves are green, but the edges and the main vein are reddish color. Very nice, very nice. I do like it. I do like this one. It's not the tidiest of plants, but yeah, most of them are close to my south-facing window, which is behind me. And sorry for the glare that's producing. So that's that. The next one, which I think was probably the second one I bought, and this one is a favorite of mine because of its colors. Yes, look at that. Look at that. This one is Aglaonema Red Valentine. I bought it with one little plant, and that's this one here, and it's put out two little pups. So it's filling up, and it has a bloom, and I don't want the bloom. So we get out the scissors and we cut it off. And that's what the bloom looks like as it starts coming out. It's very similar to the bloom, well, it's almost identical in shape and in form to the blooms that the Schismatoglottis puts out. So, yep, don't want the blooms. They're insignificant, serve no purpose for me. So they go out because what I want is I want the plant to grow. But this really is, it sits on my plant shelf, IKEA metal shelf that's behind me, and it just loves life. It does love life. Apparently, red leaves have no problem with photosynthesis because it has lots and lots of chlorophyll, but the plant itself reflects red light. So the leaves look red with a teeny bit of green here and there, but it has no problems with photosynthesis. The photosynthesis problems start when you have white leaves. So we all know that if we have the monsteras with white leaves or philodendrons variegated with white, especially white, no photosynthesis on those parts of the leaves. But red leaves, because we have plants, we have Japanese maples that have red leaves, we have normal maples with red leaves, we have hazelnuts with red leaves, all growing perfectly well outside, and it's a little trick of nature. We see red because that's the color that the leaves are reflecting back to us, but it does have lots and lots of chlorophyll, but we only see a little bit of green on this. I love this. It's just such a splash of color. No problems at all. Just need to keep up with the watering because, of course, they shouldn't be overwatered, but they do tend to a little bit to droop just a tiny little bit when they are needing a drink, and fertilizer from time to time in the growing season. Never overdo it with fertilizer, but lovely. I love this. It is such a splash of color. There are some people that don't like colored plants, but a splash of green, red like that, oh, it's just fantastic. We'll put that one aside because I'm going the list. Now, we have another one which I've had for at least 2 years, and this one is called Amazon Silver. Beautiful plant. It's sort of got creamy colored stems and petioles, but lovely plant. It is the furthest away from the southern facing window. It's about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 meters away, but it's against a white wall, so it does get some reflection back. But as you can see, It's the back of the plant. And of course, most of the leaves are facing the front. So I love this plant. It does, when did I get it? In September 2023, so nearly 2 years ago. Lovely plant. It just keeps on carrying on, like the British say, keep on carrying on. Well, that's what this one does. It just keeps on going and going and going, and I see some new leaves coming out, but just carries on, carries on, carries on. I'll put that one behind me. Oh, you might see that, oh no, the elephant in my room just here. That's this bird of paradise, Nikolai. Oh, it's hit the ceiling. And it's got a new leaf coming out somewhere there in the middle. It has to go. What do? I can't smash a hole in the ceiling for it to grow up. And I have quite high ceilings, so it's reached the ceiling. Luckily, a friend wants to take it to his work to put it by, because they have huge floor to ceiling, wall to wall windows, and put it up against the window. So it's going to go. And another is my Anthurium Forest King, Jungle King. It is huge. It is huge. It is huge. It is huge. It's so easy to grow, but you need the space. That's why I've got it on the column, and it's standing way up there, and it's you don't need to brush against it, etc. The other thing that's back there behind me is you can see the orange fruit on it. That is a Citrus calamondine. Now, I think this was my first ever rescue plant. I think I've had it for 2 years. Now, I went to a big box store and I went to the shelves where they have their plants at heavily reduced prices, mainly because they're all dying on the way out. And this particular citrus tree was about 30 centimeters tall. Many of the branches were dead, curled up, dried up dead leaves, and and green leaves were also curled up. But instead of the 30-40 euro price normally for citrus about that big, it was 8 euros. And I thought, you poor little thing, 8 euros, I'll try to save you. Yes. I thought, well, I'm only going to lose 8 euros because I haven't had previously good success with growing citrus plants. But I took this fellow home, and it was probably about the size as the thick stem you can see there. It was about that size. And it was as I said, it was in a shocking state. But I gave it a prune. I repotted it into a slightly bigger pot, not this one, slightly bigger pot with citrus soil. And once again, it was in a very sunny spot. Take it outside in the spring, bring it back in the late autumn. Fertilize it with citrus fertilizer, because citrus need a special fertilizer unless you can get another type of fertilizer, but it must have a high iron content. Citrus requires a high iron content fertilizer. So if you get a fertilizer that's specific for citrus, then it will have a high iron content. And the other thing is, citrus tends to have a lot of its roots close to the top. So watch the leaves. The leaves usually, on most plants, the leaves start to tell you, hey, I'm getting a little bit dry. I need some water, even though this is outside and it gets watered, but because it's in citrus soil, it's very, very free draining, so that and I don't have a saucer underneath it. It just drains away on the terrace and flows onto the lawn or wherever it goes. And all times of the year, I have orange fruit, I have newly formed green fruit, and about every month and a half, it's full of blooms. Well, the room just smells fantastic when it's blooming, when you get this citrus smell. And you can eat these. Now the trick is, Now, I tend to pick the ripe ones and cut them in half and throw them in my tea. But you can eat them. But I think I'm pretty accurate in this. If you want to eat them with the skin. Apparently, they are slightly sweeter. If you peel them and eat them, they're quite sour, almost bitter. But with the skin on, they're slightly sweeter. And I have friends that every time they come over, they head to this citrus on my terrace and check where there's a fully ripe one, nice and soft, not too hard, not too soft, and pick them, wash it, and eat it straight away. And they have no problems with that. So, yes, you can actually eat something from there. So yeah, that's just some of the elephants in the room that are behind me. I love this particular Aglaonema. This one I've had since, let's see when I got this one. I've got a date on here. Yes. Oh, March 2024. So, year and a half. This one is Madagascar, Aglaonema Madagascar, but it is sometimes called white lime because it has lovely, lovely white edges and white stems, petioles. Now, this is not in front of my south-facing window, but just to the left of it, because it needs bright light. If it doesn't have bright light, it won't have the white margins on the edges of the leaves. And once again, you can see, this is the side that's not facing the window. This is the side that's facing the window. So that's one good thing about Aglaonemas, is that usually the leaves turn to this direction where it's getting the most light. So if you want the nice white edges that are on this plant, you need to give it light, bright light. Don't think direct sunlight, but then I've talked about direct sunlight once before. My windows are triple glazed, so by the time the light gets through the glass, it loses some of its intensities, and I've really not had much problems with plants sizzling off in the sun, because the triple glazing is absorbing some of the UV rays and the bright light, and everything seems to do very well. So I like this plant because of the green and the white. Like this so much. So much. Lovely plant. Oh, let's see, what else can we have? Here's another one. This one's doing extremely well. This is Aglaonema Snow White. Looks a little bit like a different buckia, but it's not. It's an Aglaonema, and now I have 4 plants in the pot. I think it had one. I don't remember when I got this one, about a year and a half ago. And that's what Aglaonemas tend to do. They send out baby pups on the sides. And, you can divide them and pot them up separately. But I like it because it's very stark contrast between the white and the green, and that's why it's called Snow White. This is on the shelf in front of the south-facing window because it has quite a bit of white, so it needs slightly stronger, more intense light. But lovely, lovely. Never given me any problems. Oh. There's quite a few plants here. Now this Aglaonema, I got this from a garden centre, and I didn't agree with the name tag. I forget what the name tag was on it. White something, but it's not. It's an Aglaonema white lance, and that's from June 2023, so it's a couple years old. Now, there is a difference between the two plants, and I can't quite remember whether it had 2 plants in the pot or 1 plant and one's come out since. But if we look at the back of it, look, one of them has white stems, shoots, petioles, whatever you want to call. The other one is all green. The leaves are slightly different. This one, the white lance, yes, the white lance, it has sort of silvery strips down the middle. The other one is more or less all green leaves, all green. A little bit of color down the middle, the silveriness, but so I'm not quite sure whether these are the same plant species or 2 different ones, because the leaves are slightly different. The silver and the white stemmed one, the white lance one, has more white in its leaves. The other one doesn't seem to have any white in its leaves, just dark green edges and light green in the middle. But this one is actually in my bedroom, and it's 2 meters away from a north-facing window. So it doesn't get a lot of light. No, it doesn't get a lot of light. But you can see, you know, this is the one that I know I bought. Whether it had 2 plants in it or not, I don't know. Whether this is a baby of this one, I don't really remember. This one is putting out a new leaf. This one is also putting out a new leaf. So it's about 2 meters from a north-facing window. So north, in the northern hemisphere, is the windows that get the least amount of intense light. And it's growing quite nicely. I mean, you know, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh wait, I'm running out of room behind me to put all these plants down. Now, another one that I have is, where are you? Yes, Aglaonema silver blue. Silver blue. It's very similar to the Aglaonema silver bay. But there are differences in the coloration, especially the center part. This is less I don't know, less of a zigzag pattern. And once again, the stems of this, the petioles, are creamy white, whereas the silver bay, it's more green. Yes, they're green. So this is a silver blue. Aglaonema silver blue. Again, see, away from the sunlight, facing the sunlight. Oh, I think they're probably all due for a water soon. Yep. Now, oh, here's another one. This is the one. This is Aglaonema super white. I wonder why it's called super white. Eh? Give you one guess, or do you need 3 guesses? This is Aglaonema super white. Some of the leaves have a little bit more variegation on them, but basically most of the leaves are very, very white. And it has a bloom coming out, you know, coming off. There, had a bloom coming out. Don't want it. Now, this, oh my goodness, look, can you see that it's putting out a new little baby? Oh my goodness, it's time to have some champagne and celebrate. How long have I had this one? Since March 2023. It is the slowest growing of all the Aglaonemas that I have. But it's pushing out a baby. How wonderful. We'll have to celebrate, won't we? And it's pushing out a new leaf. But because of the white, it is a very, very slow grower. Of course, I think it would look spectacular if it was growing like the Snow White one, which was, you know, fully filling in the pot. But the fact that it's pushing out another little baby is good news, because it'll fill in, because it looks a bit bare. Now, I actually have this on the top shelf behind me so that it doesn't get direct sunlight or even dappled sunlight on its leaves. Because the leaves are white, they're going to go brown and mushy or crisp up if they get too much bright light. But it does need light. Thankfully, it has a little bit of greens. The stems are green, or the petioles, whatever you want to call them. Some of the leaves have green edges, so it has a little bit of green. But this is the slowest one. Slow, 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 slow. So will be interesting to see in a few months' time how the little baby pup looks like. Wonderful, wonderful. Didn't notice that. That's the beauty when you do a video and show a collection of one genus, and you notice things that when you walk past them on the shelves, you don't notice them. Now, the very, very first Aglaonema that I bought, the very, very first one, is the Silver Bay. Silver Bay. And I bought it from IKEA. They always have this Aglaonema. And here, look, it's the biggest one I have. Hello, yes, hello. Have I got a tag in here? Yes, I do. So I can tell you when I bought it. March 2023. This was the very first one I bought. And it has a yellowing leaf. So we'll just, it's one of its earlier leaves. No need to slightly yellowing leaf, no problem, get rid of it. I think in the 2.5 years or whatever I've had this, that's the second leaf I've had to chop off. It's just gorgeous. It's just, look, again, if I can show you, look. That's the side that's facing the wall. That's the side that's facing the light. Now, it's been always in there. Are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants in this pot. Oh. I just water it. It is also a little bit like a Schismatoglottis or a peace lily. Sometimes the leaves droop a little bit when it's telling me that it wants water. But again, no pests whatsoever, knock on wood. Growing away lovely. There must be something in its juices in the leaf that the pests don't like. Oh, yeah, beautiful. It's the biggest one I have. It's the biggest one I have. I will be over the moon if all of them reach that size. All of them would be, it would be just fantastic. Wonderful, 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 beautiful, beautiful. I love this. It's my favorite Aglaonema. It normally sits here where the citrus is. I just brought the citrus from outside and stuck it there in its spot so there wouldn't be an empty spot. It sits there. It has, what is it, 2 meters away from the south-facing window, and the leaves do slightly turn towards the window, but if you rotate, and I do rotate it from time to time to even out the growth. So, but it's just, it continuously puts out new leaves, etc. Absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. Now, on a completely different, that's my Aglaonema collection. I think there's 2 or 3 more I saw advertised online in an online store recently. I thought, oh, I like them. Sort of the leaves were sort of greeny and orange and pinkish and whitish, interesting colors. Some time ago, I bought, it's an Anthurium Delta Force. Well, it's alive. It's alive. It still has the juvenile leaves. Difficult for me to decide where to put this as far as light is concerned. Now, I've got it in lacquer at the bottom, tree fern fiber with lots of perlite and pumice mixed in, and sphagnum moss on the top. It's on the middle shelf over there, but it's hidden behind some plants so that it doesn't get direct light shining at it. If any one of you has experience in growing the Delta Force, I'd love for you to share your experience, which would help us all, including me. Yeah, love it. Love it. I just can't wait for it to get bigger. But I don't know. I look at some YouTubers and their anthuriums look absolutely wonderful. They're big, etc. I've always had problems. I've had problems with anthurium. Not all of them, but some of the more picky ones. But yeah, my queen anthurium, gone long ago. Never survived. Never grew nicely. My anthurium pallidiflorum with the long leaves, which everybody says is so easy to grow. It's so easy to grow. Well, no, that's in the compost heap as well. Oh, talking about the compost heap. During this time, I basically got rid of all of my moss poles. No, too much work. Too much bits of sphagnum moss floating around on the floor, on the shelves and whatever. No, I just got rid of them all. No, I didn't get rid of them. I gave them away. I've kept two. Well, actually, I've kept one, which is the philodendron Malay Gold or Golden Princess. It's the same plant. I kept that one because I liked the way it was growing. And my philodendron gigantum variegated. Now, I thought that the philodendron gigantum variegated was a clumping plant forming a rosette. No, it's a climbing. And I've now attached it to a moss pole. Its roots have gone into the moss pole and it's growing much faster. That'll be on a video coming up to show, but don't have many philodendrons left. The moss poles, too much work. You know, it's got to be some sort of spectacular plant that I really want to have. So, oh, and yes, now, last year's plant swap in Vilnius, I think I gave away most of my plants, or swapped a couple, but gave away most of them. And I gave one plant away to someone and she just wouldn't take it without giving something to me. So she gave me a tiny little cutting of a philodendron ring of fire. Well, here it is. I think I think that's a ring of fire. And there's actually 2 growth points. It started off with one. It only had, this is the main growth point, of course, that you can see there. That's the one that I got, but it's pushed out another growth point there. So it's got enough water, but I think I'll have to put it into a slightly bigger pot because, you know, there's 2 plants competing here for sustenance and water, etc. But it's doing fine. It's growing very nicely. And another plant that I got at the plant swap, which I really wanted, is from Svetlana from here in Vilnius, Firefly in the Room. Because she had these Alocasia mellow corms. And I begged her almost for one. I really wanted one. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What happened to the 2-leaf or 3-leaf plant club? Not this one. Oh, just beautiful leaves, beautiful texture on the leaves. This is also up there on the middle shelf. It's just lovely. It's lovely. Beautiful plant. It's beautiful ribbing. Very lovely. Leathery texture, lovely. And of course, you know, it's leaning, I have to keep turning it around because it wants to face the window. Nothing unusual about that. No, nothing unusual. Now, that's all for my plants, but now that I've mentioned Svetlana, and now that I have mentioned that rescue plant from a big box store, the citrus, guess what? going for a walk with my little Benji. Wait, first of all, not our suburb, what's it called? Our little region of cottage, well, in Lithuanian they're called cottages, but they're townhouses or row houses. This section, we all belong to a co-op, and we don't have individual garbage bins. Out near the little forest where we go for a walk, there are 3 or 4 huge bins which are in the ground. The section of it is on the ground with a lid where you can chuck your stuff in. One is for glass, one is for paper, plastic and metal, and the other one is general refuse. Now also, behind them stand these wheelie bins, and they're brown. There are 5 on each side. And the brown wheelie bins are for your things you can compost. So any vegetable scraps, your lawn cuttings, any of your swept up leaves in the autumn, anything vegetable matter can go in those wheelie bins. And just yesterday, we're walking past with the dog, and I'm looking at one of these wheelie bins, and I thought, there's something interesting sticking out of that wheelie bin. I think we need to investigate. And I was overjoyed because when, I think it was a year and a half ago, when Svetlana found this hibiscus plant, and she's brought it back to life. And I thought, how lovely. I wish I could find something like that. And you know what? I opened the wheelie bin and there was this hibiscus plant in it. Well, it was in a sorry state. Its main stem had been broken off. I think what someone did is they brought it to the wheelie bin and pulled it out of the pot and bent it and broke it up so it would fit into the wheelie bin for the composting. Anyway, I thought, I will take a look at that. Now the roots, at that time in the morning when we go for a walk, the roots of the hibiscus were still moist. So it hadn't dried out. So maybe they had just recently pulled up with their car and got rid of some plants, because I rescued 3 plants altogether. I'll show you the little ones first before I get to the hibiscus. Another plant that was in that wheelie bin was a monstera, an ordinary green monstera, but it was chopped into pieces. The leaves had all been cut off, and and I thought, I don't know if you can see it in there, but I do have my Monstera Thai constellation. I love that plant. Again, it's put out a new leaf. It just keeps putting out new, and it's growing in 100% self-watering with pon. Just pon, nothing pon. And it's doing extremely well. And I thought, do I really want another monstera? I mean, when they get big, they get too really, really big. And then I thought, well, I've got room against the wall in the guest bedroom upstairs. So I found myself a chunk. I'm just showing you a little bucket here. I found myself a little chunk, and I chopped it up, and I kept the piece with the 2 roots in it, 2 aerial roots, and this one's a bit, no, this one's no good. Nope, it's broken there, so we'll cut that off. But anyway, it's in water now, and we'll take that little bit off, yes, and it should, because it has slight swelling, so if it sprouts, if it sends out roots, I'll keep it. Yes. That was my rescue. The other plant that I rescued from there was this huge Sansevieria, this snake plant. In Australia, we don't call it a snake plant. I think we call it a mother-in-law's tongue, but it's a little bit derogatory. it was all, I presume that the owner had grown it in a big pot and it just burst the pot or what, because you can't grow a snake plant in a terracotta pot because sooner or later it will crack the pot. Plastic is okay because you can see when it starts pushing at the sides, then it needs to be repotted. But anyway, I grabbed a couple pieces of the Sansevieria. You know, they're not, well, it'll come good. It'll come good because Sansevieria is a very hardy plant. But why not? I'll pot them up together and hopefully I'll get a nice bushy Sansevieria. Why buy one? And getting back now to the hibiscus. Ooh. Oh, let's just take it out. I've got this little thing. Oh, here we are. Look, that's it. That's it. Oh, sorry, but you won't see all of it. Here we go. Look. Now, this was actually a horizontal branch. And the main branch that was coming up through here was snapped at the very bottom. So, and these little ones on the side were also horizontal branches. So I've tied them up so that this strong one becomes the main central branch. And I can see here it's already sprouting a tiny little leaf, which is new. The other leaves are all on it, but it's been outside it gets morning sun to try and get it to come good. But hey, I like this idea. I like this idea of saving something from the compost bin. So I dreamt of a hibiscus like Svetlana found, and boom, I found one yesterday. I love it. Of course, it looks a bit ugh right now, but seeing how well Svetlana's recovered, and what I've done is, well, of course, you know, other jobs when you have a house is I had to repaint the terrace, the patio of the terrace, because the walls are wooden planks and the terrace is wooden planks. So the walls are sort of a yellowish color. Had to repaint those and had to repaint the black, very dark gray, black floorboards as well, with a couple of coats of oil-based paint to protect the wood, because one of the neighbors actually walking on their terrace hadn't repainted it for a long time and stepped on one of the planks on his terrace and his foot went through the wooden plank, broke, and so I think he just had to, and what I've noticed after after putting 2 heavy coats of oil-based paint on the floorboards is that before, when it rained and part of the terrace got wet, it used to dry out very quickly. Now it doesn't. There are little puddles of water everywhere. So it just means that the floorboards have absorbed a great amount of the oil-based paint to protect it from the moisture from rotting. So, yeah, what was I going on about that? Why was I talking about the floors? Oh, can't. Oh, that's just another one of those things that I had to do that kept me away from putting out a new video clip. But anyway, this one is outside in the semi-sun. Yes, and this window has a door in it. Now that door, it's like a Juliet balcony. If you open the door, there are the same wooden slats in the same color as the walls of the terrace. So they had to be taken, unscrewed and repainted and put back, because you need some sort of barrier, because look, if you had children, they'd open the door and they'd fall out. So we have these slats, same color timber as the walls in the terrace. And so I moved the shelving a little bit back, and actually I think that was a very good idea, because one of the reasons I got rid of the moss poles, etc., is that I want to concentrate on plants that will grow big, maybe less of them, but big. So I have a hibiscus, I have a Norfolk Island pine downstairs outside, I have the citrus here, I have an avocado which I grew, which is now about 2 meters tall and branching out, because you have to, if you're growing one from seed, once it gets to a certain height, you have to snip the top off so that it branches out. So mine is branching out. What else have I got out there? There's a few more other plants outside. And the perfect place for them now is, now that I've moved the shelves away from the window, these plants that are basically outdoor plants, well, they're all outdoor plants, jungle plants, but you know, the hibiscus, the Norfolk Island pine, the finger lime, if they don't go under the grow light in their special little place, they can all go between the shelf and the south-facing window. So I'll push that shelf, bring it back a little bit more from the window so that I've got space there to put the plants that will grow big. I moved all my ficus plants that were here, except for one, downstairs where the moss poles used to be, and they're all up against the window. And of course, ficus, they don't really like to be moved. But so far, fingers crossed, knock on wood, none of the ficus have reacted negatively. I do have a big Sansi grow light down there, which comes on late evening, because the window, outside the window is the terrace, and the terrace is covered. So it gets very, very little direct sunlight. But when the sun is shining and it's up against the window, the plants are getting light. But it's depends on where the sun is, if it's spring or winter or summer or whatever. So I do have a grow light, and I put the grow light on at night so that it gets about 6 hours of a stronger light during the night, and then somewhere around midnight those lights go off automatically. So that's basically it that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share with you my Aglaonemas. I wanted to share with you the updates on my Delta Force, the rescues that I have, and hope to see you again soon. Bye. Ciao. And have a good day.